would rather you sit there and shoot threes than sit there and post up, dunk in, and put them on the ISO where you're, you know, like coaches like, hey, yo, like challenge a shot, like.
And they're far.
Give me some extra hands.
He's
like,
shooting far.
Yeah, he don't shoot threes. He shoots Stephs.
Yeah.
He shoots Dames and Stephs.
He shoots Dames and Stephs.
Yeah. Man, and people say Steph changed the game. I think KD changed the game too for people that's over 6'10". Everybody want to show they could shoot threes and. But
Have a
KD
bag.
also used to dunk on people, go to the hole.
But even somebody like KD who's a marksman,
Yeah.
he don't shoot that many threes.
That's what I'm saying. But the idea of somebody.
I think it's I think that's the problem. It's the idea of KD greatness from the three-point line, realizing he don't use it how you perceive it. Has he ever been in a three-point contest?
No.
No, right?
He don't need to be.
He's a great shooter.
Great
No,
shooter.
of course.
But they used to drive mid-range.
He's a midi guy.
And it's good to see. I mean, it seems like, because back in the day, y'all know, if you was 6'8", 6'9", or taller, go get your ass in the post. Don't even think about it.
Still should be like that,
First
though.
person to make mid-range is like off limits. Like, when did that
What
start?
player?
No, like just
From an
when did
analytics
that,
standpoint,
Yeah. Who was the first person to look at data and be like, no more middies? Like, when did that happen?
When the Warriors in Houston, I think.
Was it?
Because I've always thought that was so
Was it
weird.
Warriors?
I think Maury's been very
Houston, yeah.
active in the charge of, hey, we need to shoot a gang of threes and get points.
Phoenix
points in
was
the paint.
doing it back in the day, but nobody caught on to it. Nobody was doing it but them.
Nah, but they still shot like Nash was a mid-range guy.
Yeah.
Like he was a marksman from the three, but he didn't shoot threes like that.
Yeah. But Kareem Richardson and Joe Johnson.
Yeah, they did.
Even
Like Matrix, he
Matrix even tried.
dived. Like
He's in.
So, like, if you work on something, you good at it, why let them do what they're good at?
Shit, man.
But that's what I'm saying. He's still trying to figure it out. He's still trying to figure it out. Once he learned about how easy it is.
I was thinking of playing some pecs, but fuck, dude.
He can shoot threes.
I don't know. I don't see any of my boys on.
He got that jumper, so.
Kind of gay.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me
But
of like
bad.
Cole, Luka right now, James Harden when he was averaging about 36, right? What ends up happening to some players, man, the game becomes so easy that they have to create difficulties in the like when, you know, Cole would do 3, 4, 5 pump fakes.
Yeah,
Like, I want you to, like, just get there. Like, you there? You good? You solid? Okay, cool. Now, it was, all right, I'm about to triple spin, go out of bounds, shoot behind the basket type shit, right? It was, I'm going to shoot all left hand this game, right? You know, James Harden with the double step back and all that stuff, right? What happens is the game becomes so easy that they do extra things that make it seem harder. And I think with Wemby, I think if he decided to say, you know what, let me just see if I can just not shoot threes and just try to dunk and just make layups on everybody, what our average. It's like Embiid, no one's gonna stop you. Right? You know, for the most part, you know, they're gonna try to bully you from going down there, but nobody's gonna stop you. Like Giannis, like, you're not gonna stop me from getting to the basket, so I'm gonna get there.
All he needs is a little edge, a foot.
Who?
All he needs is this much space.
Wemby? Yeah.
Is he gonna have to finish in the top 5 of rebounding to win Defensive Player of the Year?
How many threes he shot in 3 games?
16. Oh, no.
30?
He shot
20 for, I think, 37 over his last
37?
He shot 12 last night.
Yeah, 37 threes
Six
his
for
last.
twelve.
16 last
No way.
He shot
8 for
16?
16 last night.
Oh,
Man, hell
20 for
no.
37 over his last 3
Damn.
games.
16
but yeah,
threes,
he's
bro?
like not even top 10
16
rebounding right
threes.
now.
Stop.
Nick, have you ever shot 16 threes in a game?
Think so.
You shot 16
16?
threes?
The most I've shot
I
is
got a
13.
32 attempts when you left. When you left, I had 36 attempts one time.
I don't know if
I
I
only had 36.
I'm looking it up right now. We are trying to verify.
I think so. Didn't JR shoot the most? JR Smith shot 22?
16 threes in a game is a lot.
You took,
J.R. Smith shot 22 threes?
Yeah, he broke the record.
How much did Grant Williams shoot that
And
game?
LeBron was
Grant Williams Like Grant, the light skin.
Remember in the
Nick, your career high
playoffs?
14
I think
three-point attempts.
What game was
14?
that?
You did it twice
I think
when
he
you were
shot
with the
like
Lakers.
17 one game when he was with
That's
the Celtics.
D'Antoni.
Remember?
Grant Williams shot that many threes.
How many was it?
He
It
couldn't
was
have
in
played
the
on my
playoffs.
team.
Let me see. Oh, you
in
talking
Boston.
about
JR shot 22. I mean,
Ain't no way you playing on my
broke the
team.
They were
Grant-
leaving him wide open.
I don't give a fuck if you wide open.
They won the game, but
Jared Jeffries shooting that many threes, like, yo, we're gonna have problems. Sit down.
Yeah, he took 18 three-point attempts back in 2022 in a playoff game against the Bucks.
yes, I
May
remember.
15th,
Yo, you heard that?
do JR. JR.
18.
Who?
Grant.
I knew. I knew it. 22
Grant
threes.
Williams shooting 8. Grant Williams shooting 18.
In the playoffs. Wasn't it like the game 7 or something?
Yeah.
And nobody.
They were leaving him wide
made
open.
7.
Game 7, they won.
He made 7 of them.
In Boston. I remember that.
JR, how many he make out of the 22 threes? Oh, he made 10 out of 22.
That's still.
I think my highest was 15.
Mine is 13.
10
That
out of
was
22 is
overseas.
good.
Yeah, 20.
10 out of 22 is good.
Yeah,
Did they
I mean,
win
you
that
like
game?
A made, miss, made. Like you got hot after missing.
That's what I always like to see in people's shooting percentages.
You got hot after missing 2 in a row.
How did you make these shots? Did you make them all early and then you just kept missing? Or did you make a few, miss a few, make a few, miss a few?
What do you prefer as a hoop?
make a
have
few,
to get
miss a
hot.
few?
You have to get
You
hot.
gotta get hot at some point. But if
Yeah.
you start hot and then you just get cold, then you're like, all right, what's up with you? Do something else.
So we asked the chat, has Wemby turned the corner offensively? 67% said yes. Shout out to the chat. But the 50-piece reminded us some comments that an anonymous NBA scout made to ESPN's Tim Bontemps last week about Wemby. The anonymous scout said he's absolutely awesome on defense and not impactful at all on offense. He just looked like he's playing without a whole lot of direction.
That's what I was talking about.
But
Nick,
to call
were
him
you
not
that anonymous
impactful
scout?
is crazy.
That was me.
They were watching Gil's Arena.
Not
Y'all be watching
impactful?
Gil's Arena trying to see. Y'all be trying to take our stuff. We see.
Non-impactful, I think, is
Yeah, that's a little. That's some hate.
That's a little dig.
So do you guys expect these critiques of Wemby's offense to go away now that he's shown what he's capable of, like with this
They
50?
don't take one. I mean, this is one game. That's a
But it's
one game.
50.
And it's the Wizards now. Come on now.
Yeah, nobody.
An NBA team. An NBA team.
It's the Wizards.
I mean, but as a second year player, this is expected. Like, he doesn't have real direction
And
on
didn't
his
Jordan
game.
Poole have like 42?
Like, he's still trying to figure out
Like-
what his game is. Like,
He gets fucked.
Just seemed like they was playing a pickup game.
like that's the year of the player. Like, you're still trying to figure out what you do,
Yeah.
who you are in this league. So, I don't think we will see any real defined direction until probably year 4.
Okay.
We'll start seeing the end of next year, where we're like, okay, he found where his game really is and where he's unstoppable.
But it's seeing this early.
Wemby's a G.
$23 million with insider trading and scams. I wanted to know the full story, so I reached out to everyone, from researchers to crypto projects, even to Mr. Beast himself. And let me say, the story is more complicated than you think. I want to be clear. What Mr. Beast did, what his team did, is shady. But what we care about is, did he cross that bright red line from shady to illegal scam? And contrary to what Twitter says, I don't think that's an easy answer. Instead, I think the answer will depend on you. If you love Mr. Beast, there will be an explanation at every turn and a scapegoat. But if you hate Mr. Beast, what I'm about to show you will seem unethical and like a clear abuse of fame for money. So already, this story is difficult, but I want to make you aware of 2 more things which matter. First, I have gone to Mr. Beast's team to try to fact check this story extensively, and they declined to fact check or comment on my many questions. Instead, they gave me a statement, which we will get to. Secondly, I have a bit of history with Mr. Beast. I interviewed and spoke positively about him in the past, but also his new co-founder is suing me, and his other co-founder threatened to sue me. So you can make of that what you will. As always, I just want to let you know where I'm coming from, and I've tried to get all sides of the story. We're going to start with the major allegations against Mr. Beast and build on those. They come from two sources. Firstly, an investigation by Soma XBT, which claims MrBeast made $10 million by backing low-cap crypto tokens, which are down 90%. And the second investigation comes from a group of 5 people who investigated MrBeast and found $23 million in profits from, quote, scams, shady deals, and his network. Now, there are a lot of crypto projects they go over, and I want to be clear. Some of these allegations, I agree, are bad. Others, I think, are actually worse than have been reported. And still other allegations, I simply disagree with them on. So we're going to start with what I don't agree with. According to the report, Polychain Monsters, or PMON, is a project which KSI promoted heavily. MrBeast did not. But MrBeast did get in the pre-sale and make a lot of money. And thus, the conclusion is made, it's highly likely MrBeast made an investment from that insider information of KSI's promotional deal. But there's simply no evidence provided of this. I have the same thoughts about Jigstack, another coin which KSI promoted, and the conclusion is, though MrBeast did not officially follow Jigstack, in his network, KSI was involved in promoting Jigstack. From this information, MrBeast invested and made a large return. Here, again, there isn't concrete proof. Now, I asked the team who wrote this piece, and the lead author, Casper Vandeluk, told me, quote, having known MrBeast's having a very strong connection with KSI, it's basically highly probable he was vested as a result of KSI. No concrete evidence, just going off probabilities. But I'm going to say I don't agree with that, and I'm going to toss those probabilities aside. I think they reach too far. Instead, I'm going to stick with what we can prove happened. Luckily, the biggest claims in this report, the biggest moneymakers, are much better supported by evidence. Starting with Super. This is the project MrBeast is alleged to have made the most amount of money on, over $10 million based on a pre-sale of $100,000. As for evidence, we have leaked screenshots showing MrBeast telling Super's founder that he can do $100K. Then we have a wallet that both investigations traced to MrBeast, sending $100K to the pre-sale wallet. And then we have the same wallets getting millions of these Super tokens in a period of unlocks, which were almost all sold aggressively. Now, why is this bad? Well, MrBeast is obviously hugely influential, and he publicly associated himself with the project twice. Once on March 3rd, 2021, he responded to a tweet with eyeball emojis, and then he interacted a second time on May 12th, 2021. This is much worse. The founder, Elio Trades, had tweeted, there's a gym sitting there on the market at eye-watering prices set to explode during the DeFi Summer 2.0. MrBeast's response, Super? But what he doesn't say is that he'd already purchased a huge stake in Super at this point, and on the day that he's tweeting, he was selling tokens, allegedly. Not only that, he had been selling tokens and continued to sell tokens. In the 72 hours after the May 12th tweet, MrBeast sold about $200,000 worth of these tokens. And remember the context. He's responding to the founder of the coin discussing a gym at eye-watering prices that's going to explode during the summer. And MrBeast's response is the coin he's selling. So publicly, it's signaling, hey, Super is this undervalued coin, and privately, MrBeast allegedly sold. Now, I ran these wallets by MrBeast, as well as the accusation, but I didn't get a reply. Instead, I got a heavily lawyered statement from a spokesman, who I'm going to warn you is about to complicate things. Quote, these investments were made and managed in consultation with industry experts to ensure full compliance with all appropriate rules and regulations. The wallet is not owned or managed by Jimmy, but rather a fund led by respected and sophisticated managers. The fund closely evaluated and scrutinized hundreds and hundreds of opportunities, which resulted in several investments. Some have been more successful, others less, and others still works in progress. The fund's investment strategies apply the same rigorous standards as many other experienced investors in the field. Now, I have a lot of questions, but the big thing is Jimmy denies doing any of the trading or managing the trading and blames it on a fund. So I asked some obvious follow-up questions. What is the name of this fund? Who were the industry experts? And what rules and regulations were followed that allowed you to tweet about a coin while your fund is selling? I didn't get a response. It's worth mentioning the spokesman is Matthew Hiltzik, a well-known crisis management consultant. Thankfully, online, there still are a number of clues we can follow to try to find the right person for this fund. The reason most people link MrBeast to this wallet we've been tracking is mostly based on a tweet by MrBeast saying he bought a specific crypto punk, which belonged to an account which goes by Wu-Tang Clan. People assumed, understandably, that this was Mr. Beast's wallet. But what is lesser known is that another account has also tweeted about CryptoPunks and has the same ties back to Wu-Tang Clan. A guy named Jason Williams. He's followed by Mr. Beast on Twitter, and he's the author of a book on Bitcoin, so he's a crypto guy. And I found Jason tweeting about another CryptoPunk saying, "I hope you enjoy your new home, sold for 100 ETH. That sale he's talking about links back to the same address Mr. Beast does, Wu-Tang Clan. On YouTube, there's even more clues. Jason can be seen surfing wearing a Wu-Tang Clan shirt, and his brand name, Going Parabolic, happens to be owned by the same Mr. Beast wallet, goingparabolic.eth. So there's very good evidence that Jason Williams was also involved in this same wallet, which means that it might be true that Mr. Beast wasn't the guy buying or selling, which would be good for Mr. Beast and bad for these investigations. But just when I thought Mr. Beast might have no say in what this wallet did, I saw this podcast with Logan Paul, where Jimmy discusses CryptoPunks once again, and things get complicated.
So me and Logan both bought punks. You guys will probably see on his Twitter that he bought a bunch of CryptoPunks at the same time, right?
Yep.
Gary pulled us
Yep.
in that call.
Yep.
So have you ever told that story?
No.
Gary V, it's like 11 p.m. just out of nowhere, just calls me and he's like, "Yo, I got like 30 people to call. Hop in." I'm like, I don't care. He's like, "It'll be the best decision of your life. Just get in." I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so I just joined the call. And I just see like Logan and I don't even know these other people. I don't want to put them on blast.
Every heavy hitter you can imagine who's
Exactly.
worth $1 billion was on this one call, and Gary V is in the little corner, the little square. He's going, CryptoPunks. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be the next Facebook. All of us were like, okay,
Everyone's
Gary.
judging. I'm texting Logan.
He's
I'm like, Gary lost
is
his
this
mind.
legit? Bro, all of us were like, yo, Gary's nuts. Yo, Gary was right again.
I bought a bunch.
Wait.
Yeah, I bought quite a few.
How many?
I don't want to say, but
You have to say, bro, you have to.
I bought multiple ones. Yeah.
Well, bro, are you in double digits, punks?
Just shy.
Huh. Well, this clip is very interesting because Jimmy said he made the decision to get CryptoPunks based on a call with Gary V. But those punks are owned by the wallet we just said was controlled by Jason. So it appears sometimes Mr. Beast is telling Jason what to buy for this fund. Mr. Beast then later talks about selling these CryptoPunks and rolling the money into a new project. And once again, it sounds like he's in charge.
Well, I've already sold quite a few of them, so I don't.
What?
The
Dude, he's on to
mints
the
are
next
expensive.
thing.
I bought a bunch of, so then I rolled the money into V Friends because Gary, same thing, called me. He's like, V Friends. I was like, I don't know, but last time I made money, sure.
I'll be honest, these clips to me make it difficult to assume Mr. Beast had no idea what's going on. He talks about CryptoPunks and VFriends like personal investments. And on Twitter, he says that not only he bought CryptoPunks, he also tweets about loading up on VFriends. But again, I have to say, it is also abundantly clear Jason Williams was involved. He says, "Hey Gary, thanks for the VFriends gift code. It was a gift from Gary to Mr. Beast. I'm very thankful for it. He didn't have to send anything." So once again, Jason Williams appears to be involved and have something to do with the trading or management of Mr. Beast's crypto wallet, but we know Mr. Beast made some of the decisions. So of course, I asked Mr. Beast to explain himself if he had any say over the trading, but once again, there's no response. So now I want to turn back to Super. We know from leaked DMs that Mr. Beast and not Jason set up this presale, and we know that Mr. Beast made the tweet. So now we have to guess. Here's what we know. We know Mr. Beast set up the presale according to leaked screenshots. We know Mr. Beast made the tweet, but we don't know whether it was Jason doing the trading of Super, or if he was doing the trading, did Mr. Beast know about it? Did Jason know about the tweet? These are the questions that ultimately matter, and yes, I reached out to Jason Williams for a comment. He didn't reply. I did, however, get a hold of Elio Trades, who is the founder of Super, and he insisted that Mr. Beast's tweet was not a part of a deal for promotion. But you should know, he also mentions how upset he was with how presale investors sold their tokens, saying most of them sold, including Mr. Beast. So those are the facts. Mr. Beast gets involved in a presale, for some reason tweets at this project twice, one time on the day his fund is selling tokens, where he seems to imply that they're undervalued. In total, he's alleged to have made $11 million with this deal, according to the report. So yeah, that's really bad. Now we're going to turn to another allegation, which is about Earn, or Eternity Chain. There are some facts which are the same. There are others that are different. For example, instead of Mr. Beast setting up the deal directly, the team at Earn claims they never spoke to Mr. Beast. Quote, "We were speaking to his fund manager. And when I asked about these wallets selling allegedly over $4 million in tokens, they say, quote, Mr. Beast's fund was an early investor in our presale. He had the same unlock schedule as everyone else. Were we happy with the way he sold? Definitely not. But legally, there was nothing we could have done. And then, just like with Super, they claim they didn't ask for a promotion of the project, but that Mr. Beast decided to comment once himself anyways. On March 9th, 2021, Mr. Beast responds to Eternity Chain saying, this one will be hype. It's worth noting, once again, about 24 hours before saying this fund wallet purchased over $100,000 of Earn tokens in addition to the presale. Now, what is different about Super is that Mr. Beast's name was put publicly on the Eternity Chain website. On their investors and partners page, you might be asking, well, which is it? Is he an investor or a partner? And the answer is both. He got into the presale, and the Earn team also claims that he partnered with them for an NFT drop. Supposedly, it was a charity drop and a normal NFT drop. Now, the charity drop specifically did happen in association with one of Mr. Beast's projects, Team Seas, saying, quote, all proceeds will go towards cleaning up the seas around the world. This was early November 2021. Then the official Team Seas account posts it on November 3rd, 2021. Quote, what an awesome crypto collaboration in support of the team. Then the CEO of Eternity Chain, Nick Rose, confirms in Telegram that the drop is supported by Mr. Beast, saying Earn and ETH tokens will be accepted for the charity auction, which was slated to last 2 months. Now, the reason I'm sharing all of this is because 1 month into this 2-month charity auction on November 30th, 2021, the Rocket Fund or Beast Fund or whatever you want to call it starts selling huge amounts of this Earn token. Allegedly, they sold over $2 million, while the charity itself was still going on. Now, I know that sounds horrible. It looks horrible. It is horrible. Although I have to tell you, personally, I don't think this was a master plan to pump a coin with a charity auction. If it was the plan, it was a bad one because the NFT auction was ultimately a flop. But do I also think it doesn't matter because regardless of your intentions, selling tokens within a month of your 2-month charity auction is wrong, stupid, and unethical? Yes, I think that as well. Because in case you forgot, Mr. Beast is the charity guy whose name is on the website. It isn't a fund. It isn't a crypto rocket fund. It's Mr. Beast's branding. I even asked the Earn team about this, saying, quote, why did y'all list Mr. Beast instead of Rocket Fund in your partners' investors? Was that discussed? They say, quote, we listed him, Mr. Beast, as a partner and, quote, yes, they accepted that. So according to the Earn team, Mr. Beast knew or should have known that his name was on the line for this investment and partnership. And yet, this fund, his fund, whatever you want to call it, sold tokens 1 month after starting a 2-month NFT auction for charity. To be fair again, though, it's hard to oversell how bad this NFT auction did. I have found only one NFT that appears to have sold here, but the bids were made in the Earn token, which the fund was selling. And the actual sale of the NFT didn't happen until after the
Brennan Taylor, my dude.
Transfer happened.
What's up, man?
23rd. So of course, I went to Mr. Beast directly to answer this and see if there was some more context they could provide.
What are you up to, dude?
No response other than the statement we've already read from Mr. Beast that he did not control the trading. Although again, that isn't a really satisfying answer because we've established Mr. Beast would sometimes direct what to buy and sell to this fund, like CryptoPunks. Personally, like I said, I don't think this was a pre-planned scheme. But regardless of intentions, if you're the charity guy, you support a charity, it flops while your fund makes millions of dollars in profits because it's selling the same Earn token people could
Now
bid
you've got a
on
run
the
as
charity.
high? Yeah, those are nice.
Is awful.
Remember in
And
high
you
school,
should
I'd be
feel
working on and I'd be
awful
getting
about
like a high after.
it.
Nice feeling of
Look,
euphoria.
Now, I want to move on from that to talking about our final token, XCAD. This is a token you may remember from our investigation into Mr. Beast's business partner, KSI. But unlike KSI, Mr. Beast was not promoting it a lot on Twitter. In fact, the only reason we know Mr. Beast was in the presale is that there were several articles about it bragging about that fact. Once again, Mr. Beast's name was used to promote this instead of the fund itself. And internally to investors, I have to say, this built up a lot of excitement, not just because Mr. Beast is a huge name, but because XCAD had what's called creator tokens. So the idea to some investors is that, well, if they're investing Mr. Beast and KSI, what if they were ever to launch creator tokens? That would be massive. And I bring this up because some people might ask, like, what do these affiliations, how do they impact people buying these projects? And the answer from what I've seen is they actually do impact it quite a lot because people are
It's all good, bro.
like further involvement, and also the idea is like they must not be investing unless they're long-term holders. You can see this in the Telegram chat. It became so common that in the XCAD community, one of the admins says, "Here we go again," another community member asking if there's any possibility of a Mr. Beast KSI token. And meanwhile, by the way, as that's happening, as the investors are hoping for these creator tokens and that they're imminent, behind the scenes, something entirely different had been happening. Like with Super and Earn, Mr. Beast's fund sold a lot of their XCAD early in 2021 rather than holding their tokens. And this was surprising to even the founder of XCAD himself, Oliver Bell, who said they told him they were going to do the opposite. He tells me, quote, "Hey, so Mr. Beast reached out to me during our pre-sale raise. A group was set up with his team, and we had a call with his team, and they said they liked the concept. There was no strings attached to the investment. They did, however, want a lot bigger ticket than what I offered them, which I'm glad I did not fulfill. We discussed
Finish this Slayer test, and then we're gonna go do some Hueycoatl
projects if people have decent sized tickets. It was my understanding we were aligned on this. However, after listing to which XCAD performed well, there was heavy dumping from a wallet linked to Mr. Beast's team. I got in contact with them immediately and asked them why they were selling like this." Now, Oliver later claims this discussion about flipping tokens and them being aligned about the fact they're not going to flip these tokens so quickly was with Jason. And apparently, Oliver was so upset about what happened, he DM'd Jimmy directly, quote, explaining his team will ruin his reputation. And look, sorry to be a broken record, but yes, I reached out to Jimmy about this too. And once again, there was no reply besides the statement we read earlier. It's worth mentioning that I asked Oliver for proof of this message about ruining relationships, and he said the message had been deleted on Telegram. So who you believe here is up to you. Oliver also says, quote, "I don't think Jimmy has a bad heart or is a bad person. I think he has genuine interest in the crypto space, but I think the team that handles his crypto is completely clueless." And here, on this last point, I have to disagree with Oliver. I don't think that Jimmy's crypto team is clueless. I think they saw an opportunity to make millions of dollars with Mr. Beast's valuable brand, and they took it, and they did make millions of dollars. And along the way, they did some things that were shady. Whether or not you think they were also illegal is probably going to be shaped by our unanswered questions and where you fill in those gaps. For example, do you think Mr. Beast knew about the selling that was going on May 12th for the Super token? Why did he make that tweet? And then, do you think Mr. Beast knew about the charity auction and the selling that was happening on November 30th? And do you think Oliver Bell DM'd Mr. Beast and told him his crypto team would ruin his reputation? And if so, was that ignored? I hate to leave so many unanswered questions here, but I warned you, this was a complicated story. And a big part of the problem is the guy at the center of this story cannot or will not give more than a heavily lawyered statement through a spokesman who's a crisis management consultant. And let me just say, it's also frustrating that this statement takes zero accountability. Despite the fact Mr. Beast's team knew every major allegation that we're laying out.
And of course, he's not going to say anything. He's risking a multi-$100 million business, billion-dollar business. He ain't going to risk shit.
No mention of them selling tokens a month after they partnered with a 2-month charity auction. And because of that, this statement feels very hollow. I think to Mr. Beast and probably to his fund, maybe this is just business, you know? They set out to make a lot of money, and they made a lot of money. What's the problem, right? This is America. They might think this is the biggest Mr. Beast nothing burger since Mr. Beast Burger. But look, honestly, I'd agree with them if they had done this crypto stuff without using Mr. Beast's name. But they want to have their cake and eat it too. This fund trades on Mr. Beast's name, as we've seen. They get in pre-sales based on his name. He tweets from his public account, and they're putting his name publicly on projects' websites instead of a fund. But when things go south, suddenly, oh, Mr. Beast, what? No, no liability, just because he's not sitting there physically pressing the buttons. I don't think that's the way it works. Look, I want to close with the final part of this CryptoPunks podcast we showed you earlier, because in many ways, I think it's a microcosm of this story. Obviously, I have to say, I'm not making any comments or judgments about the guy who's suing me, who's also in this clip. That's just coincidence. I am only talking about Mr. Beast's reaction, because as Mr. Beast is talking about Gary V's great CryptoPunks call, there's a moment when the co-host says, hey, maybe instead of Gary V being a genius, maybe it's just the call itself that makes the market. And Mr. Beast kind of defends it. He says, no, that was in February. You know, CryptoPunks didn't pop until the summer. And, you know, I never talked about CryptoPunks until this very moment.
Can I ask you guys a question? When Gary does that call with all these billionaires and 8 months or a year later, everybody's like, Gary was right again.
Yeah.
Is it possible that he's right because of the call? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think about that a
like,
lot.
dude, he has all these
I think about
billionaire
that a
market
lot.
makers in the thing.
think about
He
that a
makes the
lot.
call, makes the market. By the way, you look around at all the punk owners a year later, and you're like, damn, it's all the same motherfuckers that were on the call.
No, because bro, there's 10,000 punks, and there's only like 30 of us in the call. We can only own and do so much. There's still an entire market that's gonna happen regardless.
I can tell you, I don't think what, because that was all back like early February. Like
Right.
things didn't pop off till later, and every like NFT project was popping off, not just punks.
I mean, make no mistake. Like having such influential people involved in projects, it can't hurt the ability for the project to
but like,
work. You know what I'm saying?
95% of those people didn't even mention it. You know what I mean? Like, I've never talked about it publicly.
Yeah, but that last part isn't quite true. The reason we're all here is Mr. Beast tweeted about CryptoPunks the same day he bought them back in February of 2021. That's how we found his wallet, even though we now know someone else was involved too. And I would apply the same level of scrutiny to many of the investments we've talked about. Was it the genius of Jason Williams, Mr. Beast, or this fund that made them tens of millions of dollars? Maybe. Or was it the fact that the name they brought to the table was Mr. Beast, one of the most influential and valuable brands in the world? And that's what got them the great deals. That's what got them a bunch of eyeballs. That's what made it so valuable to have his name on these websites. And maybe that's what made the market. Ultimately, I think it's for you to decide.
His name definitely made the market. His name definitely made the fucking market, bro. Let me tell you. Chris the Thug and the new scam just dropped. Let's do a roll pull. Rug pull? Yeah. Let's do it, bro. I'll make my Canadian Ethereum tokens. We'll ride that all the way to the top. Let's do it, Chris. All the way to the moon, like Elon. Need some true crimes next? My boy. Shit. I think there's any new ones out that I can watch. I don't know, take a little looky poo, I guess. See how she goes. Looks like you're in luck.
The footage you just saw was taken at the exact moment Christopher Gregor realized police
Christopher!
happened to his son. One horrifying and heartbreaking secret recording had changed Christopher's life forever. Police
Oh,
became
shit.
involved in the situation when Corey was admitted to the hospital in critical condition.
What the fuck? He just walks right behind his son
Corey
on the
just
treadmill
wanted
and
to
just...
impress his father and keep him happy. But the father had more sinister intentions towards his own son.
Hey, Gma, does God see what my daddy does to me?
All his evil secrets were about to be revealed, and they would shock the entire community.
Damn, boy.
I told him God sees everything.
On April 2nd, 2021,
I'm ripping a
just
toe.
days after the disturbing footage of Corey running alone on the treadmill, a tragedy occurred. Christopher Gregor, 31, Corey's father, discovered his son unconscious and completely motionless around 4 p.m. the following day. Corey was immediately taken to Southern Ocean County Medical Center in Stafford, where he was examined by professional doctors. Inside the room, a battle had begun to save the child. Despite the doctors' quick and dedicated efforts, Corey's condition worsened. During a CT scan, he suffered a seizure that further complicated his fragile state. Despite every attempt to save him, Corey passed away at 5:03 p.m. on April 2nd, 2021. But the doctors were about to find something even more horrific. As they examined Corey, they discovered numerous bruises on his body. The treadmill video also hinted at something sinister.
Bro,
almost answered what
I ain't gonna lie, I hate watching crimes with kids, and bro, watching that shit makes me feel sick. When I don't understand how people could hurt such like innocent beings, you know? Like, sure, kids can get annoying and shit sometimes, but to like sit there and fucking choke your own son out while he's like on the treadmill and shit, like that's just, you gotta be some kind of fuck to do that type of shit, bro.
Some shocking details.
I don't give a fuck. You gotta be some kind of fuck.
Stunned.
Straight up.
But there was another surprising twist in the case. Right after the doctor had pronounced Corey
Like people
dead,
like that
his
shit, man,
father,
they should get a fucking
made
bullet
call
in their
to
brain,
Child
you know?
Protection Services. He reported that on April 1st, 2021, Corey had been with his mother, Brianna Micholo.
Micholo.
She became the center of a
Papi
growing
Micholo.
investigation. However, some details from the history of how his parents raised him would end up revealing a sinister pattern. In 2014, the story began with Corey's mother, Brianna Micholo, getting pregnant with Corey. The father was Christopher Gregor. Initially, Christopher was unaware of Corey's existence. It was when Brianna applied for state assistance that the authorities first learned about Christopher as Corey's possible father. In 2018, a paternity test confirmed that Christopher was indeed Corey's father. This marked the beginning of a custody battle between the parents, despite them not being divorced, as they'd never married to begin with. Both wanted to take responsibility for Corey's upbringing. As the custody battle unfolded,
Why not, you know, do
Christopher started
50-50
complying
custody?
with child support orders, although it took nearly a year for him to begin visiting Corey. Later, the custody arrangement was settled in court, granting Christopher custody of Corey on weekdays. Ultimately, they lived with Christopher's parents in Monroe, but later, Christopher moved to Barnegat. Brianna initially agreed with this decision, believing it was important for Corey to have a relationship with his father, hoping it would provide a sense of completeness to his life. But this decision would change her life forever. As Corey began spending more time with his father, Brianna noticed some unusual things. On one occasion, when Corey returned home from his father's custody, Brianna noticed he had a busted lip. When she asked Christopher about it, he claimed it had happened accidentally during a soccer game. It was only a moment of time before the horrifying truth of the situation would come to light. However, that wasn't the only
Excuse me.
Around Halloween 2019, another incident occurred when Brianna noticed injuries on Corey's face, arms, and legs shortly after he returned from Christopher's home.
But she kept sending the kid over.
His face.
Like, what?
When Brianna asked Corey about it, he was too scared to say anything. But Brianna quickly realized...
Come on, man, I need to get 36 more blood velds, and then I want to go do Hueycoatl. Come on.
She knew something was
Come
terribly wrong,
on.
so she decided to take action
Please.
to ensure his safety. She'd reported Christopher's behavior to the police and the Division of Child Protection and Permanency, or DCPP, but the authorities didn't take any action regarding the complaints.
Come on.
Despite all of Brianna's efforts, the case was closed without any action.
Case closed.
This was just the start of a pattern where the authorities ignored Brianna's concerns.
You said something like, you know, the more he did it, the worse it got. You know, that pattern
Yeah,
of
the more he got
escalation.
away with it. Yeah, he would get away with it. He was noticing, like, I'm doing this to him. DCPMP obviously can't tell, or they just don't care. So everyone sees you as, like, this crazy person because you're screaming at cops, you're screaming at DCPMP. They don't like you because you're screaming at them. But you're like, what do I need to do?
I mean, this is what I call, Brie, where women can't win, because if you didn't take him, then you would be neglectful. And then when you do take
Bro,
him,
that's so fucked.
you're trying to alienate him from his father. You know, and the deck is stacked against you.
Immediately after her complaints, Christopher accused Brianna of being addicted to drugs and sought full custody of Corey. By March 2020, Christopher was granted sole custody of Corey by the court, and Brianna was left with only visitation rights.
What? How?
Even after losing the battle for custody of Corey, Brianna didn't give up.
What?
She documented multiple instances of unexplained bruises and even bite marks on Corey's body.
Bite marks? What the
She
fuck?
repeatedly alerted the caseworker from State Child Protective Services, but her pleas mostly fell on deaf ears.
See, those motherfuckers that be ignoring these pleas and shit, they should be going to jail with the estranged father.
With fingerprint marks
You know
on
what I'm
his
saying?
arms and legs, and
Those
once
motherfuckers should be going to jail
on
too.
the bottom of his eyes. His father's abuse continued, and years passed without any significant action from the authorities. Despite Brianna's complaints to the authorities, Christopher still had full custody. However, everything changed on April 1st, 2021, with a heartbreaking discovery. During a visit with Corey, he informed his mother about an incident involving the treadmill. He revealed that weeks earlier, his father had forced him to run at an unusually high speed. CCTV footage also recorded what had happened that day. The footage captured Christopher and Corey entering the Atlantic Heights Clubhouse Fitness Center on March 20th, 2021. The video showed Christopher forcing Corey onto the treadmill and then increasing the difficulty settings even after the boy fell multiple times.
Why though? Yeah, like,
But
what the
this
fuck?
wasn't even the most heartbreaking part. Christopher believed his son was overweight, hence he should work out rigorously. It was clearly seen how Christopher abused his son, Corey. Shocked by Corey's statement about his father, Brianna had taken immediate action the following day. She applied for emergency custody of Corey and reported the abuse to authorities. But there was yet another letdown. Despite her urgent pleas, the family court judge denied Brianna's request, stating that there was no immediate danger to Corey. Little did they know the danger was just around the corner.
The judge should
However,
go
on
to
the
jail
same
too,
day,
bro.
Around the afternoon of April 1st, 2021.
How do you see that video
Brianna
and
took
not
him to
see
nearby
fucking
hospital
abuse? Like,
to
what?
get his bruises checked. Doctors examined Corey and assured Brianna that he was okay, though he had a few bruises on his body. Therefore, he
fuck?
was charged around 1 a.m. the same day from the hospital. Brianna wanted to keep Corey with her, but Christopher insisted on taking him back the following day on April 2nd,
Oh, father,
2021,
indeed.
around 9 a.m. That day changed everything. Corey became severely ill and unresponsive while under Christopher's care on April 2nd. Christopher had rushed Corey to the hospital around 4 p.m., but tragically, after a few hours, Corey was pronounced dead. What shocked everyone even more was Christopher's reaction.
Go
Christopher
partying?
blamed Brianna for Corey's death.
Oh.
He just lost his son, and to be playing blame games right after the tragedy seemed rather odd. But this was just the beginning. There were more twists to come in the story. Instead of mourning his son, immediately after hearing the news of Corey's death, he left the state for 3 months. When the police caught him, he again attempted
He
to
left
shift
the
blame
state
onto
for
Corey's
3
mother,
months? What the
Brianna.
fuck?
When
That
Brianna
doesn't
received
scream
news of
guilty
her
or
son's
anything.
death, she was devastated. She felt overwhelming sorrow and regret for every decision that had led to Corey being under his father's care, which turned into a horrifying outcome in the end.
And sometimes I just want to say sorry, but I know I tried.
because that happened a few times. Like, that video wasn't the first time it happened.
But she was determined to get justice for Corey with the help of the law.
With the help of the law, the lady, they've
Determine
been
the reason behind
spitting on you for the past few years. Good luck with that.
2024.
It's crazy how they had to wait for this kid to die to step in, you
opened
know?
the trial, stating that they'd sufficient evidence to accuse Christopher
crazy.
of murdering his son Corey. Lento confidently argued that Corey's death was a result of consistent abuse done by his father. On the other hand, Christopher's attorney, Mario Gallucci, countered these claims by portraying Christopher as a responsible father. Gallucci argued that the footage from the treadmill had nothing to do with Corey's death.
At some point, you're going to see Christopher go over to that treadmill and speed it up. And you're going to see Corey fall. And you're going to see him pick that boy up 6 times. And 6 times put him back on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to like him. And I don't care if you like him. When you see that video, you're going to be horrified. You're going to be mortified. But I'm telling you right now that the evidence you're going to see of Corey's death had absolutely nothing to do with that treadmill.
Corey and his mom sat in the car in the parking lot, and they said goodbye for what would be the very last time. Corey was walking. Corey was talking.
This Louisiana hot sauce is fucking fire. Never thought of having hot sauce with chips before.
By 9:03 a.m., Corey was back inside the defendant's apartment. By 3:48 p.m., this defendant carried
How you
Corey's
doing,
nearly
Sean?
limp body into Southern Ocean Medical Center. He reported that Corey was sleepy and had thrown up. Corey was admitted quickly. He was brought to room 6 in the emergency department. Corey coded. He was intubated. He coded again. He lost his pulse. And by 5:03 p.m., Corey was pronounced dead.
Dr. Larkin found that Corey's blood results from Southern Ocean showed incredibly high white blood count, high glucose, and high
On toke, holy fuck, I'm stoned as shit. But I can never say no to you.
indicative of
Let's do it.
caused by an infection.
Corey was alive and well at 9 a.m. when he was with his mom, and he was gone by 5:03 p.m. after only being with his father, this defendant. The state submits that after you've heard and seen all of the evidence in this case, you will be firmly convinced that this defendant is guilty of abuse and murder. Because healthy don't just die during the course of a business day, and neither did Corey Mitchell.
And instead suggested that
boy.
Corey died from syphilis, an infection discovered during a medical examination. The case presented differing opinions about the cause of Corey's death, setting the stage for a courtroom battle. This legal showdown took an interesting turn as witnesses testified and evidence was presented. At first, the case began to demonstrate Christopher's abuse towards his son. The prosecutor had called Corey's first-grade teacher as their first witness. The teacher testified that after March 2021, when Corey was under his father's custody, she often noticed bruises on his body.
Did you first see Corey that day?
In the classroom.
Did you make any observations of him?
I saw kind of like a burn, not a burn, but like it looked like kind of like a rug burn thing on his forehead.
And virtually?
Virtually.
And were you able to see him virtually?
I was.
And what, if any, observations did you make of Corey when you saw him virtually on March 29th?
I saw bruises on his cheek.
Is that the same as what you were describing from March 23rd?
No.
And Did Corey attend school virtually on March 30th?
Yes.
Did you observe?
Yes.
What, if any, observations did you make?
The bruising.
Additionally, she observed a noticeable change in Corey's behavior at school. He'd become more withdrawn and quiet. These observations were presented to illustrate the potential mistreatment Corey experienced while in his father's
I
care.
mean, they could just argue that he was
Furthermore,
suppressed
Dr.
because of COVID.
Hueycoatl appeared before the jury and provided his testimony regarding Corey's visit to him with his mother on April 1st, 2021.
Who brought Corey to the emergency room?
His mother.
And what was the chief complaint when Corey arrived?
Patient has some bruises all over the body. They want to find out where those bruises come from. He was very scary, little bit scary boy, and he afraid to answer my questions. We marked down all over the body, and we saw like some bruises, abrasion. The most significant one is on the chest bone area, like about 5 by 5 centimeter.
You tell the jurors what your impression was regarding the bruising that you observed to Corey's body on April 1st when you had observed him in the emergency room.
Some bleeding underneath of the skin for like a few hours to a few days.
And what other impressions did you have regarding the bruising?
Those bruises are in various stages, as I mentioned before. Some of them are maybe hours, some of them are maybe days. I cannot tell you exactly more than that.
And Corey was discharged a little after 1 a.m., correct?
Yes.
So he would have been discharged then on the early morning hours of April 2nd.
Yes.
Of 2021.
Yes.
And when you discharged Corey from the hospital, did you observe any symptoms of sickness or infection or broken bones or any of these things?
No.
Dr. Ong explained that he observed bruises all over Corey's body, particularly on his chest area, and noted marks indicating bleeding beneath the skin. When questioned by the prosecutor whether he observed the symptoms of sepsis when Corey was discharged, Dr. Ong confirmed that he did not. This testimony strongly suggested that Corey did not die as a result of an infection. Dr. Yi Kya-ong's testimony also indicated that Corey appeared to be in good health before visiting his father's place on April 2nd, 2021, suggesting that something might have occurred during the time Corey was under his father's care. To clarify Corey's condition after visiting his father, another witness called to testify was William Doyle, a triage nurse at Southern Ocean Medical Center. Doyle provided his account of seeing Christopher bring Corey into the emergency room on April 2nd, 2021, shedding light on Corey's medical state upon arrival at the hospital.
Corey was in Chris's arms. His arms were over Chris's shoulders. His legs were dangling. His arms did not look like they had much movement to them. His legs did not look like they had much movement to him. His head was rested on Chris's shoulder. His head was his face was difficult to visualize. So when I first approached them, I knew that something was concerning, but I couldn't see everything I needed to see.
Nice try there, Brennan. I already toked.
To convey
You don't have to wait for that cooldown, brother.
Urgency or unwellness that I did not get from him at first. It was more of a clinical description of what was going on, and I did not immediately feel I had to rush them back. I definitely knew it was concerning, but I needed just a little more information. If I saw Corey's face right away, it would have been much easier, but Corey's face was on Chris's shoulder.
The prosecutor asked Dr. William Doyle what his immediate observations were upon seeing Corey. Dr. Doyle recalled,
So I went over to them, and I was splitting my attention between Chris and Corey. But what I could tell was that there wasn't a lot of spontaneous movement from Corey. He was not really moving on his own. He appeared to have a lack of tone to his muscles, and there was a lot of support coming from Chris in keeping him in the position that he was in.
These statements justified Corey's severe and critical condition upon arriving at the hospital. To counter the accusations, the defense lawyer invited Christopher's mother, Carolyn Greger, to testify about the phone call she received from Christopher regarding Corey and why he decided to flee immediately. Initially, Carolyn explained that she'd heard about Corey's health.
Because he was lethargic, something's wrong with him. Something's wrong, has to take him, you know.
She mentioned that Christopher had suggested that Brianna might have done something wrong to Corey. Then she went on to explain that they started receiving random threatening calls accusing Christopher of being a murderer.
He's getting phone calls at the house, on our house phone. Threats. People are, your brother's a murderer. You know, this was like, it was ridiculous how quickly.
So when you talk about how quickly, I'm trying to develop a time frame.
Yeah.
Were you and Mr. Greger in the vehicle that you were driving to Southern Ocean Methodist when you see that?
Yeah, I believe so. I you know, it's like the whole thing was such a, we were devastated. We're crying in the car. We're calling the police in the car because no one was there. There was no police, nobody. So we're calling the police. We're trying to find out what's going on. At some point, we get to the hospital, and no. And Danny calls us again.
This was the reason Christopher decided to flee. Christopher's mother also mentioned that Brianna had visited their house and threatened them. However, when questioned by the judge, Carolyn clarified that Brianna never made threats to burn their house or assault them.
I have a couple things to ask you to clarify. Danny's calling you while you and your husband are on the way to Southern Ocean County, right?
Yes.
And then Danny later calls you again that same night to tell you that Rebecca Mitchell showed up at the house.
Yes.
And you're saying that she's making threats.
Yes.
Except what you're really saying is she's saying Chris was going to be charged with murder, right?
And she was saying things along the line, and I'm paraphrasing, that you people are going to watch it, and just crazy stuff, saying crazy stuff like that.
And was there a threat to burn down your house?
No.
Or to assault you?
No.
Assault your husband?
Not directly, no.
And the wanted posters are that he's wanted for murder?
Yes.
She only explained that her mention of Brianna making threatening calls was in reference to the treadmill video. Further, attorney Mario Gallucci introduced David Greger, Christopher's father, and a retired New Jersey State police officer who testified about meeting Corey for the first time. This testimony highlighted the emotional aspect of Christopher's parents. David appeared visibly emotional when discussing his only grandson, Corey.
Corey's first visit was in the beginning of August of 2019. It was just a visit for a couple hours. I remember it because Christopher went to pick him up. And it was a big day for us. It was my only grandson. He came for a couple-hour visit, and the preparation...
You're fucking on demon time, bro. I'm waiting for you to redeem that shit so I don't fuck up and have to smoke more than God do.
They all played sports, so I was going through all the old equipment now that the children were older and pulling out all kinds of balls and baseballs and footballs. And
When the defense lawyer asked about the treadmill video footage, David stated that he chose not to watch it because he didn't want it to be his last memory of Corey. However, he didn't deny that Christopher mistreated Corey in the treadmill video. In this way, attorney Mario Gallucci vigorously defended Christopher, but all the facts and statements became groundless when prosecutor Christine Lento presented the most crucial evidence, the manner of death, which led to the conclusion that Christopher was responsible for his son's death.
Corey died of blunt impact injuries of the chest and abdomen with laceration of the heart, left pulmonary congestion, and laceration and congestion of the liver. In Corey's case, in that these injuries could not have been inflicted by himself with any kind of intent, it's certainly not. These injuries, given their pattern and distribution, are consistent with having been inflicted by another person. Therefore, any death that is related to the actions of another person is, from a medical examiner's standpoint, from an epidemiological or public health standpoint, homicide.
Dr. Thomas Andrew provided critical testimony indicating that Corey's fatal injuries were the result of unforced trauma to his chest and abdomen, which led to a significant laceration of the heart. His expert analysis unequivocally classified Corey's death as a homicide, emphasizing that the severity of these injuries pointed to deliberate human actions rather than accidental causes. He also mentioned that there was no sign of sepsis infection during the forensic test.
There's zero, not one scintilla of evidence of sepsis or any other infectious process in Corey's autopsy.
But this battle didn't end there. There was another testimony left. Another forensic pathologist, Dr. Michael Baden, presented a contrasting view to the Ocean County jurors. Dr. Baden asserted that Corey had died from natural causes, like complications from pneumonia.
Also based my opinion on is the CAT scan finding of pneumonia also present. So I think all together, the most likely cause of death was a very severe, rapid pneumonia. There are other causes that could also occur.
This testimony directly contradicted Dr. Andrews' findings and interpretation. The conflicting experts' opinions added complexity to the case, prompting jurors to carefully weigh the evidence presented by both sides in Christopher Gregor's trial. Despite arguments from the defense that Corey died of natural causes, such as pneumonia or sepsis, Linto stated that the treadmill video, recovered by the prosecutor's office, spoke for itself.
Pretty much.
The jury needed to know was captured in that video. May 31st, 2024 marked the final day of judgment to determine whether Christopher was guilty or not after considering all the evidence presented by both the prosecutor and defense lawyer. Finally, the jury reached their verdict. Christopher was found guilty of aggravated manslaughter and endangering the welfare of a child.
Corey was subjected to an awful time on the treadmill that I've described. It was brutal to watch that treadmill video because you rarely see a child essentially inflict harm on himself in the beginning until his father starts to put him back on it. So it doesn't take a vivid imagination to consider the fear Corey's in at that point.
Okay, I'll rip that
Aggravated manslaughter count run first, followed by the flat sentence on the endangering count, such that the aggregate sentence is 25 years and that the jail credit of 885 days comes off the aggregate sentence. Another condition of the No Early Release Act is that defendant shall serve a 5-year period of parole supervision upon release, that he shall provide a DNA sample and pay for the cost of same. There are 2 $50 victim of crime compensation assessments, 2 $75 safe neighborhood assessments, 1 $30 law enforcement training and equipment fee.
But they dismissed the more severe murder charge against him of
What?
aggravated manslaughter, which carried a potential prison sentence of 10 to 30 years. However, if he was convicted of murder, Christopher could have been sentenced to life in prison. With this decision of the jury, the courtroom erupted with mixed emotions. Relief and closure for some, sorrow and disbelief for others. Sentencing was set for August 2nd, 2024, where the full extent of Christopher's punishment would be determined. Meanwhile, amidst the criminal proceedings, another battle unfolded in civil court. Brianna Micciolo, Corey's mother, took action against the DCPP, alleging that their inaction and negligence had failed to protect Corey from the abuse that ultimately led to his death.
Good for her.
Brianna's efforts to make changes gained strength as she received support from advocacy groups.
Are you
and people
fucking
who
kidding me?
cared
It's
about her cause.
outside.
Corey Michiolo's story remains a somber reminder of the vulnerabilities faced by children and the collective responsibility to protect them.
Brother.
This is Stephen Galvin, and he's just been shot by a drive-by shooter who fled the scene. There's barely any evidence, and the police were at a dead end right from the beginning. Or at least, that would be the case if Steve hadn't managed to use his final breath to solve his own murder seconds before he died.
Steven, who did this to you? I think we're far enough away. Cyclops?
With only a nickname and a million questions remaining, the cops had the hardest investigation of their lives ahead of them in a race to bring this monster to justice before he kills again. On July 2nd, 2015, police rushed to the scene of an apparent drive-by shooting in a previously quiet neighborhood in Clear Lake, California.
Police emergency line?
The man has been shot. The man could be shot.
Do you know who shot him?
Lady, I don't know who shot the man. All I know is he's been shot. He's laying out here on the dirt.
But when the cops arrived, things didn't seem right at all. Nobody was scared or panicking, and when they approached the victim, it seemed that he had no injuries at all.
Are you shot, sir? All right.
What's going on?
I'm okay.
What happened?
Do you have any injuries, sir? I guess somebody saying he was shot. Well, what any injuries? Still gonna need medical for some odd reason. Sir, you alright? What's your name? Steve Galvin. Steve Galvin?
Stephen Galvin was well known to the cops and is somewhat of a local troublemaker, but he's still the victim of a crime, and these cops need to find out exactly what's going on and why he keeps slipping in and out of consciousness. It wasn't until the paramedics arrived that they finally discovered Stephen's injuries, and it's no surprise that they were easily missed by the officers on the scene.
What's your name? Steven. Steven?
Yeah, Square Day, what's up, dude? Oh, we're chilling. I feel that. Half a mil right there. Shit. Basically just paid for half of the spare pots we bought. 61 mil. $53 million. $61 million. 30. Okay, that's not bad. We're gonna need something to watch for a little bit. What a mod. That's actually a dope mod. What the fuck? No way.
Go check the crate over there. No problem.
It's actually a sick mod. Hmm. Oh yeah, this guy, General Grant, alright, never mind. I was gonna say, this guy definitely just bought all of that shit, bought gold for that. Okay, got lucky with some drops at G grad.
Racist nuisance streamer calls for Koreans to swing at him. Koreans promptly respond and turn it into a national sport.
Context. This is the same streamer that has been causing havoc in Japan last year.
Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Whoa, Fukushima. Hey, Fukushima, Fukushima.
He then tried to do the same in Israel a couple months back.
You a bad bitch. I'll take you to dinner. I swear to God, I'll change your life. I'll change your life.
As you might suspect, doing this in a country in an active conflict wasn't a smart idea, and he was swiftly taken care of. And now that he's attempting to do the same in South Korea, people have literally offered bounties to hunt the guy down. And now Johnny can't even walk outside without people instantly going after him.
Tomorrow I'm outside for Halloween. Come catch me. I'm outside tomorrow.
찍지 말라고. Hey.
Look at his face.
He's black and blue.
No way. No way this dude is about to get spawn camped. No shot.
어디가? Don't touch my shoes.
어디가?
Don't touch me, nigga.
어? 소만이 어디가?
Yes, sir.
어디 가냐고?
You guys following me crazy. Look at you.
어디가?
어디가? What you mean? 어디가?
어디가?
What is 어디가? Oh. Yo. Hey, yo. What is blue?
야. 야. 뭐 하는
거지? Bro, you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember back in WoW whenever you'd have like those sanctuary cities and then like you would be like max level and you would follow like a level 77 and then kill them right outside the boundaries? Yeah, like you're waiting at Shatrath for the moment for them to leave and you just got your arm up and you're just fucking sitting there like, all right, bitch. Come on, 2 more feet. Oh man, that sucks. That's bad for him, man. Damn, K-popped his head? I guess so. Trump in a garbage truck? What do you mean Trump in a garbage truck?
New Warzone map? That's pretty cool. I have to play some Warzone.
over 4,100 items that you can buy or sell. The vast majority of these are ones you know about or have even traded yourself, but there are also some items I guarantee you didn't know you could trade, or for that matter, knew even existed. Like, you can buy this item for 2.3k. If you know what it is, congratulations, you get the first gold star of the video. This is a Grak headdress and has been in the game since 2006. To make it, you need to go to the fancy clothes store in Varrock with some Grak fur and have the seamstress make it for you. Over the past 5 years, this item has only been traded around 3,000 times on the GE. But the Grand Exchange iceberg goes even deeper. Some of these items I found I guarantee you didn't even know existed, and alongside that, some items you can buy are also just straight up weird and kind of messed up. We also always talk about the most traded items on RuneScape, but what about the least traded items? Well, I think I may have found it. As someone who utilizes weird RuneScape items for some challenges in Gielinor games, link below to watch Season 4 if you haven't already, I've always wanted to make a video sharing some of the stuff I found after years of researching for challenges and elimination games. I love the weird and quirky stuff about this game, so I'm really happy to be sharing this all in this video. Here's an item that can be bought for 40 GP. It's a book. What do you think this is? If you guessed a pie recipe book, that's another gold star. It came out in 2006 and can be purchased for 5 GP in the Cook's Guild. This book tells you all about the pies in the game and how to make them. Even though it came out in 2006, it's actually been updated with pies like the botanical and dragon fruit pie, which came out in the 2010s. I appreciate this attention to detail from the JMods. Only 3,400 of these books have been traded on the Grand Exchange over the past 5 years. Did you know that there are items on the Grand Exchange that cannot be bought? Seriously, put in a max cash offer for any of these and they will never fill. You could fill my heart with joy, however, by subscribing if you haven't already.
Cringe transition, brother. Cringe.
Enter the Enchanted Palace to meet Fairy Corn Princess Surprise. What will you discover?
Over the last decade, three-pointers have taken over the NBA. The shot transformed from a gimmick so underutilized that the league had to move the three-point line closer to the hoop just to incentivize teams to take more, to a shot that now determines the outcome of many games. But after an entire era of seemingly exponential growth, recently the barrage of three-pointers appeared to stabilize. In fact, the league had become so saturated with threes that the scales had flipped and two-pointers became slightly more valuable than three-pointers. Just like anything else, something that was good and effective, but only up to a certain point, and that point had been reached. The shot was pushed to its fullest extent, and the three-point revolution had met its inevitable conclusion. Except it didn't. This season, teams across the NBA are shooting more threes than ever before. Some teams with the majority of all of their shots being taken from beyond the arc. A new generation of stars more trigger happy from three than the players that came before them. And games that feel like one long three-point contest. Is the NBA on a path to being a league featuring exclusively long balls, layups, and nothing else? Well, in 2015, right about the time the league began to shift
Imagine
away from
they
the
get rid of the
basket,
three-point
Steph
line.
Curry attempted 8 3-pointers per game, the highest total in the league that season, and just the 5th player in NBA history to attempt at least 8 threes a game. By the next season, 3 other players joined him as ultra-high-volume 3-point shooters. But by 2020, the number of players across the league attempting at least 8 threes a game jumped to 15. The 3-point revolution was long in effect by this point, and it would remain at this level for the next few seasons. The league seemingly finding its equilibrium on threes and how many are even worth taking. Until this season, where there are 24 players in the NBA who are attempting what was once considered a historic amount of threes just a decade ago. Something is changing in the NBA right now. Are we nearing the end of the 3-point era? Or are we just getting started? Today's video is brought to you by SeatGeek. The NBA season is heating up. Your favorite artists are on tour, and y'all are gonna need some tickets. Now, you guys have used my promo code so much that SeatGeek wanted to hook you up with a new promo and a new special offer, and it's the best one yet. For the rest of the season, everyone who uses code Jimmy10 will get 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek. Whether you're new to the app or you've been using it for years like me, code Jimmy10 is good for 10% off any order on SeatGeek. Just get into the app, find the best tickets
Isn't it
for
always
you by
10%
using their
off?
color-coded
Like-
seating map, punch in the promo code, and you're done. Take advantage of this deal while it's still around. Download the SeatGeek app and use code Jimmy10 for 10% off any order. In 2016, the Golden State Warriors completely redefined how basketball is played. For the first time, a team that centered their offense around the 3-ball proved that it can be a championship-winning strategy. And they weren't just a 3-point oriented team, they were the 3-point team. They bucked age-old notions of what great basketball could look like, their star duo named after their shooting abilities, the most influential team of our generation. That season, the Warriors shot 31.6 3-pointers per game, the second most of any team in league history and by far the most of any true championship caliber team. This season, every single team in the NBA attempts more threes a game than the 2016 Warriors did.
That's
Their
crazy.
influence reshaping the league far more than anyone could have anticipated. But teams aren't just shooting more threes than ever before. They are approaching the point where the majority of all shots taken in a game are 3-pointers. Here's a game between the Hornets and the Celtics, and with 10:36 left in the third quarter, Jason Tatum attempts a 3. The Hornets come back and attempt a 3 as well. Celtics turn it over, Hornets attempt a 3. Celtics come down and attempt another 3. Hornets come down and attempt a 3, followed by a Celtics 3, followed by a Hornets 3, followed by another 3. Celtics switch it up for a moment with a layup, and then right back to a Hornets 3. Turnover, Hornets 3, Celtics 3, Hornets 3, Celtics 3. This was a real sequence in an NBA game. This actually happened. A 4-minute stretch where both teams combined
crazy.
for nearly 14 consecutive 3-point attempts if it wasn't for an easy layup at the rim. This is insane, and it's not even out of the ordinary this season. Here's another sequence between the Celtics and the Knicks. Now, this was already a blowout, so you never know what you're going to get in these situations. But how about a 3-ball followed up with a turnover, another 3-ball, and another 3-ball, and another 3-ball, another turnover, 3-ball, turnover, 3-ball. Oh, look, there's a layup. And then back to another 3-ball, and a turnover, and a 3-ball, and take a wild guess, a 3-ball. 3 straight minutes of 3-pointers. 8 from the Celtics alone, and they missed all 8. But even this was nothing compared to what happened in a game between the Hornets and the Hawks. With 1 minute and 45 seconds left in the first quarter, the Hornets made a mid-range jump shot. What's so special about this mid-range bucket? Well, nothing, other than the fact that this would be the last shot they would make outside of layups and 3-pointers for the rest of the entire game. For the next 37 minutes of game time, outside of free throws, every single point the Hornets scored until the end of the game was from right here or out here. In fact, throughout this entire game, the Hornets scored 120 points. Only 4 of them came from a shot that wasn't a 3-pointer, a layup, or a free throw. Has the complex, rich, and diverse game that we love truly been reduced to this? It certainly feels that way at times. Through 100 games so far this season, a whopping 42% of all field goal attempts have been from beyond the three-point line, a total that has nearly doubled since 2012. Sometimes it feels like we're watching one big three-point contest, because at times, we are. In fact, at the current rate the league is going, which may or may not continue, half of all shots taken in an NBA game will be three-pointers by the 2032 season.
That's
but it's
crazy.
not just that teams are attempting more three-pointers. Teams have regressed to taking only the best, most efficient shots on the court. Three-pointers, layups when they're available, and hardly anything in between. Excluding free throws, 86% of all points scored from NBA teams this season have been from beyond the three-point line or within 6 feet of the basket. 20 years ago, only 65% of all points were scored from these zones. Now, this upward trend of near and far and nothing in between may not continue. Over the past few seasons, there has been some stagnation in three-point attempt rate, so there may be a shift in the other direction in the coming years. But the NBA tends to follow the leader. What are the winning teams doing, and how can we adapt, emulate, and optimize that style of play? And right now, as much as we can't stand it, winning basketball looks a lot like a three-point shootout. Before the beginning of this season, Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla said the team planned on shooting a lot more threes this year. They did the math, and it checked out. We need more threes. But outside of Harden's Rockets, last year's Celtics attempted more three-pointers than any other team in NBA history. It was a recipe that was so good, it helped them win a championship. How many more threes could they possibly shoot? 51. This year's Celtics are shooting 51 three-pointers per game. That is 56% of all of their field goal attempts. Arguably the best team in the league, coming off of a championship, is shooting 6 more three-pointers per game than any other team in league history. But are three-pointers and the sheer volume of them really a recipe for winning basketball? Is this truly the future of the game and what teams will need to do to compete? Well, so far this season, teams that win the three-point battle, when they score more net points from three-pointers than their opponent, have won 72% of the time. And this one metric has been more indicative to winning than just about any other. Last season, there was an 85.6% correlation between three-point percentage and winning percentage, the strongest correlation between the two variables in NBA history. Make more three-pointers, greatly increase your odds of winning the game. But that's pretty obvious. Of course, making more threes will better your odds. We have seen massive underdogs win games by pouring in three-pointers and hitting more than they probably should have. Will teams eventually reach the threshold of three-pointers that are worth taking in a game? Or is the shot just so valuable that we will inevitably see a league that finds no value in taking any shot outside of the long ball? There must be a sweet spot between shooting exclusively threes and no threes, where we will eventually see the limit of good, viable three-pointers. Oddly enough, the league may have already met that limit. As previously mentioned, three-pointers used to yield more points per shot than two-pointers for many years. Teams eventually figured this out and they capitalized on it. But this inadvertently led to two-pointers becoming more valuable. As teams focused their defensive efforts on stopping the three ball, they got spread thin, the rim opened wide up, offenses got rid of long mid-range jumpers, and for the first time in over 3 decades, two-pointers produced just as many points per shot as three-pointers. How do we know if or when teams are shooting too many threes? Well, intuitively, it would be at the point where three-pointers lose their statistical advantage over twos, which has already happened. The problem of too many threes has already statistically corrected itself. But despite this, the Celtics and many other teams are committed to shooting more threes than they previously did. They are aware of the data, and they still decided that upping their three-point rate is the answer. Steve Kerr has said that it would be hard for the Warriors to compete without shooting a high volume of threes. Mike Budenholzer said he thinks the sport is in a good place, and that threes create more space to be more athletic and dynamic going to the basket. Devin Booker, a player who utilizes and values the mid-range game as much as any player in the league, said the volume should be up. Attempting the three-point shot, not even making it, stretches out the defense and opens up better looks throughout the game. Teams know that the two-pointers today aren't as valuable as they are in spite of threes. Two-pointers today have become so valuable because of threes. As Devin Booker stated, even when they aren't going in, the spacing and ball movement that three-pointers provides to teams creates an incredible advantage compared to any other shot. In fact, it's no coincidence that points per shot on two-pointers began to climb rapidly at the same exact time as the three-point revolution. When you force teams to guard the three, you also force them to give up the two. This whole time, we've been watching these games thinking teams are shooting way too many threes. And all along, they weren't just shooting threes because they're worth more points. They've been shooting more threes to create more points in other areas. The direct benefits of volume three-pointers actually plateaued quite a while ago. Teams aren't yielding more points per shot on threes today than they did a decade ago. But the indirect benefits of volume threes continues to grow the more teams make and take them. Which means, in theory, the number of threes we're seeing teams take could continue to climb, despite the fact that they are already at the peak of their direct statistical advantage. But just how much further could this go? Well, this is where things get really interesting. If we ignore the caliber of teams and the efficiency of their shooting and just look purely at volume, then through over 150 games so far this season, teams have found by far the most success when they shoot somewhere between 46 and 52% of all of their shots from beyond the arc. This season, when teams put up a three-point attempt rate between 46 and 52%, they have won over 70% of the time. Meanwhile, teams that shoot at a rate outside of this hypothetical sweet spot have won just 48% of the time, which means despite as many three-pointers teams are shooting, statistically, they may still not be shooting enough. And it may only be a matter of time before teams use this information and slowly creep towards this rate of 50% of all of their shots consisting of three-pointers. Last week, Nick Wright had a great monologue discussing the advantages of volume three-point shooting and how teams who can design an effective offense built around them have an incredible statistical advantage.
The league needs to change some rules. They have finally figured out it's not only that 3 is worth more than 2, it's that 3 is worth a lot more than 2. Because there is a 50% premium on three-point shots, the smart way to play is probably what the Celtics did on opening night. Shoot 60 of them things. That is the best strategy. That is also terrible television. And I love the league. I love it. But this is not sustainable. At its core, the NBA is at its best when dudes are flying over people, meeting them at the rim. Hanging out at the three-point line, hoisting 30-footers is not good TV. And you are going down a path where the games are less compelling television and the fans are worried, do the players even care? It's just a warning to a league I love. You are playing a dangerous, dangerous game.
If what the Warriors did in the mid-2010s broke the game of basketball, then teams today are eviscerating it. They have essentially cracked the code. Decades of experimenting with different schemes and offensive designs and player personnel through trial and error has led teams to the correct answer. Nothing beats a bunch of good looks at three. It may not be pretty. It may lack the nuance and diversity that we used to see in the league, but it has been proven to be the most effective method of winning basketball games. How much further can this possibly go? Well, fortunately, there seems to be an upper limit to the ideal volume of threes before the returns become diminished. That limit is probably about 50%. Unfortunately for us, the NBA is still nowhere near that limit.
You won championships with MJ and Kobe. How are they similar and how are they different as hoopers?
The difference
I didn't start out so shit in the beginning, I would have more adamant plates. Rip. Redeem toke. I got you. Make sure my dab rig's on. It is. After this next wave of attacks here, Sean, we cooking. Alright. The fuck? Let's do it right here, right now, baby. I got 2 of them. Indeed. I'm gonna try and go for a perfect fight here. Oop. Damn, I fucked up. Nope. Damn. Your thrones. Come on, Huey, give me some fucking decent. Give me the pet, bro. Fuck around and give me the pet today. Fucking limp roots. I clicked on the wrong square. Oh, I gotta start paying a little bit more attention here. 2 pieces of food, boys. All looking good. I'm gonna be right back. I'll let them run this one. I'm gonna go grab something to munch on real quick. I'll be right back. Good night. The double 000.
Was
Thanks.
You saying Brown got in 2 years?
Nah.
He's never retired.
Yeah.
Bron not leaving.
He gonna be playing against Huff for a while, so he the 4-man.
He'll be there for Bronny's whole career. They can retire together.
Oh.
Year 42. Year 42 for Bron, year 20 for Bron.
To leave, think about
Will he ever leave?
Gotta play against. Who's guarding LeBron each night?
He gone next year, man.
Nah, hell no.
What?
You gotta win a championship.
Two more years.
Oh, if he win a championship.
2026, man, he gone. What
more he got to do? You want him to leave.
I think Bron will stay long enough to win a championship with Bronny, so he could leave in 2025, conceivably. Yeah, possibly.
2026, man. He out of here, man. He's y'all can kiss my ass. Ohio style.
You think so?
Yeah. Come on, man. Like, look at him. Like, this, what else is he proving here?
Shit.
There's nothing to prove. There's nothing to prove.
He on his Brady.
If you don't like me, you don't like me. It's nothing I can do right now in this game that's gonna change your minds. Because,
he don't care about that.
Yeah. So at this point, what am I really proving?
He playing with his son.
Yeah, that's it.
And
but that's what I'm saying. His son. You got Bryce coming. So if I can play with both, that'd be great. But right now, as of today, I think something's been fulfilled that he never seen coming, no player seen coming, and no players has actually had. That he gets to be with his son 365 days. Like, when you're talking about a parent, remember, we're gone 60% of the time on the road, right? So this is the first time in his career that he gets to be around his son 365 days because they're on the same team.
Gil, do you know what's better than playing with one son?
He's not going to retire a Laker.
He is.
I don't think the Lakers draft Bryce. Somebody else going to draft him. He got to go over there.
You know what's better than playing with one son?
Playing with two.
Playing with two. So.
Nah, that's too many roster spots.
We good.
Man, listen.
That's
whoever's gonna be number 15 at the time, you're gonna go to the G League, he gonna come in.
And Gil, to your point that he may be out by next season, according to Shams on NBA Today, or he said today, since his next season could potentially be his last season in the NBA, but maybe Bryce keeps him around an extra year or two. We'll see.
There you go. It's already started.
All right.
So that's 2020.
Then we gotta wait for Zuri to get the WNBA. I mean,
she don't play basketball.
She does not play basketball. No, she does not.
But LeBron is averaging 24 points, 8 rebounds, 9.4 assists. I believe the 9.4 assists third in the NBA so far this season, but 1.5 steals and damn near a block with 52, 46, 79 splits.
God,
46 from 3.
Can LeBron?
What are we doing, Bron?
LeBron revolutionizing the game.
God dang.
If they go on,
that
like
juice.
A real big winning streak.
So, Gil, do you believe the Lakers will get this version of LeBron all season? Knock on.
I don't want him to do this every game, but he got his son on the bench, man. Hey, man, let me show you how old fella done kill these young people. Like, it looks like, when your girl comes to the game and you out here doing a whole bunch of extra shit.
So he's showing off for Bronny?
Yeah, he's showing off for Bronny right now.
Shout out to Bronny.
They played together, Bronny and Pippen?
They played in high school together.
They played in high school.
And now Bryce is playing with Justin Pippen.
Yeah.
Ashley or King. So I think extra motivation, if you were LeBron after they lost to the Grizzlies in Memphis, you got Desmond Bain going up to Bronny's former high school teammate saying you snatched the ball from that old man. Bronny got to watch that.
That's
LeBron got to watch
crazy.
that.
Time is crazy.
Yeah. Pippen, Braun.
Did you see that lineup, though? Look at Memphis lineup.
Irrelevant.
No, look.
Near full strength.
What's wrong with it?
Look at the lineup, bro. Look at
so near. They weren't at full strength. They were
about the Lakers, but look at Memphis lineup. It shouldn't have been this close.
Nick, they had T. Morant in the building.
Look, we won by 3 or 4.
T. Morant in the building.
Wasn't that close?
Look at the lineup.
I'm looking at it.
T. Morant.
Look at the lineup.
I'm looking.
Huff.
I mean, Huff took shit. Huff played 13 minutes, 8 shots. I don't know who he is, but goddamn it, I like it.
I think he used to be on the Lakers at the time, many moons ago. But Nick, a near full strength Grizzlies squad. Not at full strength, near it.
I mean, they got a lot of. They do have a lot of people missing.
T. Morant was.
LeBron gonna continue.
But look,
they missing?
You
Just
playing
stop.
against.
But okay, we're not talking about that.
And
you play who goes out there.
So they're missing 3
starters.
Yeah. I mean, they would have helped a little bit. They would have helped a little bit.
But the bench,
The bench was hooping.
They better
40, they 49. They got 49 points on the bench. That's what you need over there, Milwaukee. You need something like that coming off the bench, being active.
They should have blew this team out, man.
Who?
Lakers.
Relax.
Win is a win. 7-4,
man.
No, hell
6-0 at home.
They got the same record.
No.
No, we don't have the same record. We're better.
You went by 5 with AD, LeBron against Huff and Scottie Pippen Jr.
No, we got Cam Reddish.
Come on, man.
No, we got Cam Reddish.
It don't matter. We winning against Scottie Pippen Jr. and Huff.
We did.
We supposed to win by 50.
No, we got Cam Reddish, man. I don't know.
Hell no.
We didn't have
I'm
Vando.
mad about the win. I'm Laker fans.
Okay, cool. Then
Keep
keep it like that.
We
Keep it
supposed
like
to.
that.
Nah, we
don't
supposed to blow
they
him
not
out.
supposed
We
to
supposed to blow him out. Nah, hell no. LeBron ain't supposed to be playing this hard for this game.
That's what I said. Man, I gotta
He was
see.
playing hard as shit.
Man.
Yes, he was.
Debatable.
Come on, man. He needs to rest.
Cam reminds me of like Call of Duty when you just start the game and you just got the pistol. Right? I don't think he's unlocked more shots. Like, it's like, I got the pistol, I only got 10 shots. But if you upgrade it, you get 15 shots. And upgrade it again, you get like 25. He's still on beginner mode. Like, dog, put a quarter in him. Hey, ding, ding, ding. You are unlocked 10 shots, my guy. Shoot 10 shots today. You can't play this many minutes taking 1 shot. You made it to.
He's mentally scarred. He's been beaten. He had enough of a beating.
This is year 6.
They done told him, don't shoot.
No, you don't listen to them.
Come on,
coach.
He was #1 best high school player ever.
Yeah.
They was talking about.
Hey, man, look,
When you come in the league and they change your mind, it's harder to reprogram that back.
Go get it. Listen, make
Try
yourself.
to do shit to make people happy.
Make yourself a highlight tape of your high school games. Watch yourself put up shots over and over again. And then you go out there and mimic who you were. This is not you. You out of the league soon. What I'm saying is.
Can't mimic when you're looking over your shoulder.
Shit.
You gotta make that goddamn shot. If you miss it, go get his ass.
He's starting playing 20-something minutes. Like,
he's starting because they want defense. He's trying to make JJ happy. Let me play this defense.
No, man, all that make yourself happy, because
you can't. He beaten. He been told, don't shoot that.
Come on, man. Everybody who played against this dude in high school said this man was a killer. We're scared of him.
You do have Anthony Edwards who did say that.
Sometimes it don't pan out.
You gotta figure it out.
Hey, bring back the Atlanta 2021, that COVID. Did COVID fuck him up or something?
Nah, the coach did.
Long COVID.
New York fucked
It was New York. Yeah.
New York fucked
that time in New York.
Because
taught him how to play defense.
Yeah, because if you look at Atlanta, he looked like he was averaging 10, 11. He was shooting shots. Like, 10 shots a game? Nah, that's the dude we need. I don't like this 2.8 shots. Fuck that. 2.8 shots?
You got to get his mind right.
Trying to stay on the floor, bro.
Man, you can stay on the floor.
You got other guys on that team putting up shots. He can put us in.
No, we don't. Like, listen.
We got connect. Don't mess with me.
Cool, I'll be damned.
Westside, Connect Gang, BB Bang. Shout out in Brats.
So you telling me a rookie can come in here and get that many shots?
Yes, because it's connect.
Well, I'm connected.
Connect 4, hell no.
I bust his ass one-on-one every day.
But still, he's a rookie. He allowed to make mistakes. Cam in his 6th year, his allowed mistakes are done. He fuck up, he out the game.